Hey everybody, this is Terez Paylor, and you're watching a Combine edition of Chiefs Daily. As always, we're going to run through the injuries first, and that's right, I've got an injury update for you today with the various news of the day. John Dorsey spoke to us today at the Combine. Andy Reid wasn't here. Of course, he had his knee replaced, so he's not here. So John Dorsey was the voice of the Chiefs today, and we had some time with him. We got to ask him a lot of questions. One of the number one things I wanted to know what was going on with the injuries. I wanted to know what was up with Justin Houston. Now, if you remember, guys, Justin Houston's your best player, and this is the guy that you missed for the last 5 regular season games due to a hyperextended knee. And he came back in time for the playoffs, but he hurt his knee in the first playoff game and only played 8 snaps in the playoff loss to the New England Patriots. So, talked to John Dorsey about it. He said that Justin had additional surgery to the knee. And, I guess that's something that will concern you, except you remember, hey, this is something you can come back from. It's a hyperextended knee. I talked to David Chow, who's one of my go-to guys, a former NFL team physician, and he said that, yes, this is something that you can come back from. You just need time. And he didn't have enough time to get over it during the season. So I don't think there's a whole lot to worry about there. Yeah, Chow was pretty optimistic about his chances of returning to full strength. Also, Tamba Hali had off-season surgery on his knee, which John Dorsey said. He said it was a procedure, but that was pretty planned. I mean, Tom has been having knee problems the last 2 years, and that was something he told me at the end of the year he was going to end up having, so it was just confirmation of what Tamba told me. Got a lot of stories out of our availability with John, guys. Number one thing I think that was kind of important is that John Dorsey reiterated that Jamaal Charles is an important part of this team going forward. He's going to be an important piece. After I wrote that story about Marshall Faulk, I know that gained some traction. Faulk thinks that, why would you keep Jamaal Charles if you did so well without him? Well, those other guys aren't Jamaal, and yeah, those guys fared well, but there's no reason you can't use all 3. So I think John's just saying, hey, Jamal's our guy, he's going to be here, he's an important part of the team going forward, should put that to bed. Another thing I thought was interesting is that he said that he's met with the representatives, or will plan to meet with the representatives for Eric Berry, Derek Johnson, and Sean Smith at the Combine. That's standard operating procedure, and as a GM, he needs to stay in contact with all those guys. But that's just confirmation for you guys at home if you want to see him next year. They are talking. And John also mentioned, hey, not just those guys, but Jay Howard, Mike DeVito, Tom Hali. He wants to keep all those guys in Kansas City. Like, these are good character guys. They played big roles on a good team, on a good defense. He wants them all back. Now, is it logical? Is it realistic? Probably not, but he wants them back. And that's a good sign. It's just we're going to see how it pans out. One other thing he said that I thought was kind of interesting is that the number 2 quarterback situation is up in the air. Obviously, he wants to retain Chase Daniel. Chase Daniel wants to be a starter, though. Chase Daniel wants to go somewhere and get an opportunity to prove he can be a number 1 quarterback in this league. So if he can't retain Chase Daniel, he said that the number 2 quarterback for 2016 is already on the roster, which means Tyler Bray and Aaron Murray are going to have a chance to battle it out. And that makes sense. They spent the last few years developing each of these guys. And at this point, if neither guy is ready to take on a number 2 role, I mean, that's not a great reflection on the development process they've had. Now, Andy Reid can develop quarterbacks. He's good at it. There's no doubt about that. So it's actually a pretty safe bet that they're going to be okay there. I just think it's interesting that with all the rumors about Robert Griffin swirling, and John was asked about that, by the way, and he said he couldn't talk about it because he plays for another team. I think it's interesting he said the number 2 quarterback's on the roster right now if Chase Daniel can't return. So that's just something to keep an eye on going forward. I'm going to have a lot more on all these guys in the upcoming days. So remember to go to kansascity.com for all your Chiefs news. Follow me on Twitter at Terez Paylor, and follow me on Facebook at TPKC Star. So for the Star, I'm Terez Paylor. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.